guys, welcome back. We're going to be talking this episode about shadowing, mentoring, and networking.
It's big.
Social aspects.
Yeah. It's actually a big thing about applying, being in dental school, finding jobs, etc. It has a lot of weight to it, actually.
I think it's good to help you really solidify what you want to do in dentistry too, and getting you a little situated and seeing really what dentistry is about when you get out of school.
For sure. Like, we've already talked about like a lot of the work that goes into getting into dental school. Dental school is hard. Dentistry is hard. So you better make sure like you really want to do it. And that's why pretty much every school requires shadowing, right? At least. What's the minimum? Some of them are like 25.
Yeah, it changes.
Some of them go over like 100.
Yeah, no, I think here was like 75
to
like 100 hours.
Right. And so that is a big ask to go and shadow someone for that long. And so developing those relationships with your family dentist, with dentists in your community, specialists in the community, it's really important, right? Because a lot of us may return to the communities we grew up in. Having those relationships, talking with them, seeing what it's like in their practice, it's irreplaceable experience, right? I think I shadowed, like 80 hours or something, between probably 4 or 5 different offices.
Yeah, and I think they like you to see different people too. Like,
Definitely.
I think like there are some schools, and I could be wrong, but like some schools wanted like X amount of hours for a general dentist, or they wanted like to see hours for a specialist or things like that. So just get a broad spectrum of like what the dental field holds, really.
Yep.
There's like, students that come and they are great students. They've done well with the GPA. They've done well on the DAT. And then they get to SimLab and they get a handpiece, and it's like it's really hard for them. And there's people that have like times where they're doubting if they should even become a dentist or not. Like you mentioned, Jared, it's just like letting like people having the opportunity to like really actually fall in love with dentistry. And know that they can like kind of hack it, right? Yeah,
it's not just another box to tick in your application, right? Like, you should take the shadowing experience very seriously, ask a lot of questions, be there. But at the same time, like, don't be annoying to the people that you're shadowing, because it's, like I said, it's like a big ask to be in the office that long. I think, thank you, Dr. Jones, spent a lot of weeks in his office, like every Wednesday for a couple hours for like 6 months or something. And so making sure that you're being helpful, not
staying out of their way.
Yeah, staying out of their way, basically, right? And just making it a good experience for them and for you. It's going to help others, pre-dental students in the future coming along, trying to find a place to shadow as well. So
I think shadowing for me, I knew I wanted to specialize, and so I tried to focus more on specialties. Mm-hmm. And I think that really you should try and get a good balance. I spent a lot of time at my dad and my uncle's offices. My dad's an endodontist, my uncle's an orthodontist. And I didn't spend as much time in general dentist office. So looking back, I wish I would have spent more time in general dentistry as well. So don't just go into like one place and just spend your whole time there. Try and get a myriad of experiences, go to different places, talk to different dentists. You're going to get so much more experience if you have multiple spots that you've been to.
And you can do that while you're in dental school, but that's the thing is you're in dental school at that point. So like you're paying for it, you're giving like the time.
You're committed already.
You're committed, right? Yeah. So really, before you make that jump of applying and getting accepted and going, it's like it just gives you like a wider range of different things that you could be doing or what dentistry actually holds. Because there's some people that think, I'm a dentist, you just go and check exams and you do crowns and fillings, but then you get into oral surgery, you get into endodontics, you do all these different things, and you could fall in love with that specific thing.
Well, and I think, too, an extra 20 hours of shadowing or something is like nothing when you consider, maybe that extra 20 hours is going to push you over the edge and be like, you know what, I didn't love this. Like, dentistry is maybe not for me. It's going to save you hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Yeah. What was the other thing I was going to say? The specialty thing is huge. Because once you get into school, it goes faster than you think, right? And especially, at UOP, we're a 3-year program. And so if you don't kind of know from the beginning that there's a specialty that you're interested in, the time kind of just comes and goes. Mm-hmm. It's not saying that that's impossible, but like right now, as a pre-dental student, I know it seems early, but like if you're considering one of these specialties, like don't be afraid to spend more time around them right now. I think that that's really valuable.
Yeah, and for me, like I remember shadowing, and like I actually learned some things that like I didn't really realize at first. Like for once, for like one of the instances I'm referring to, there was a dentist and he had a patient. It was an oral surgeon, and he was taking wisdom teeth out, and it was probably like a 17-year-old girl, and she was super anxious. And now being in dental school, it's like you see that a lot.
All the time.
But as a pre-dental like student seeing this for the first time, I was like, whoa, there's like a lot of like psychology that happens as a dentist of being able to have patient management and things like that. Because before I saw that, I was like, oh, you know, every patient is like myself, which I feel like I'm pretty easy to work on because I've just been around it a lot. Yeah, but like there are patients that have a really hard time with coming to the dentist, and that was really eye-opening for me. And if I hadn't shadowed, the first time I would have seen that was in a chair when I'm the student dentist treating a patient, which would be really hard, right? Because you couldn't really relate if you hadn't seen that before. So it just kind of opens your eyes, really.
I would also say as you're shadowing, you're not just shadowing the dentist, you're shadowing the whole office. So go around, talk to the assistants, the hygienists, talk to the people at the desk, you know, ask them about how the business is run. It's all your opportunity to learn those things. You know what I mean? How would you guys say, 'cause it can be easy to become annoying to the dentist, right? So what are some ways that we can stay out of their way and make it a good experience for you and them?
For me personally, I guess just a background, I don't know how every dentist does it, but for some of the dentists that I shadowed, they would talk to the patient before I'd come in. And so they would ask them, are you okay with a pre-dental student coming and watching this procedure? And so that can become a little bit of a nuisance if you're there every other day or if you're there super often. So like Jared was saying that he went every Wednesday for a while with the dentist, and that worked great because he wasn't there multiple times a week. He had the set time that he was going, and it gave him, the dentist, an opportunity to know like this is how he could plan out his Wednesday if there was a student there or whatever.
If they had to. I'd say also like some dentists are just like they love to have people there. Like Dr. Note is another one that I shadowed, and I think he really enjoyed like mentoring. Because we've talked about that before, like a lot of dentists love to mentor, right? And so finding someone like that can be helpful. What do you think, Davis? Any other tips to how to kind of stay out of their way and make it an easy experience?
For me, I asked them, and it's like these people are busy, like, and when it's almost like what I noticed too is like the people I shadowed, I usually knew before going and shadowing them. So I knew them personally. And you see them when you get there, and they're in a different mode in the office, right? So for me, I just was like, hey, you let me know like what the boundaries are. And if there was a patient who wasn't comfortable, because I had the same thing where the doctors would go in and ask the patient, then I would just go and talk to the front desk person, or I would talk to
other things to do,
the assistants or things like that. And like really just like seeing how the office runs, kind of like what Jared was mentioning. But I really do like kind of the segue of like shadowing into these doctors. They do become your mentors, really, because you're spending time with them. If they like you, if you like them, then you start like kind of creating a relationship, right? And I think a lot of the people that at least I shadowed, like they loved having me there because it was like they were able to show off their skills to someone who was very intrigued into what they're doing, right? Because like they're doing this day in, day out, working with assistants that they're with every day. But then when you bring like a young buck in, like wanting to like learn, it's like they turn it on even more, and you can kind of tell, right? So I fed into that, and I have used that to become more of a mentorship, which I think not only is shadowing towards like your application, but it pays dividends down the road. Because there's guys like you know Dr. Jones, I know like for me Dr. Field has been great, your dad, your uncle. It's like all of these guys who we shadowed, they have like wanted to know how dental school is, and we've shared kind of our experiences. Like I've sent pictures of my first endo, or I've like pictures of my first crown prep like to them, and they get so juiced. And so that ends up becoming like, yeah, I'm checking the box for shadowing for like the amount of hours, but then also becomes a relationship and a mentorship that can help down the road.
Right, gets you into the community.
Exactly.
Right, which is huge. You know, even at school, there's a lot of mentors, and just like the more in dentistry you go, you realize you don't know that much, right? Like it goes deep, 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 and so relying on the generation ahead of you for their experiences, like we're trying to pay those things forward to you guys as pre-dental students. It's key, like it really is key, and so finding mentors, finding people that are going to be on your team is really important, whether that's foreshadowing, if it's for people that have gone to dental schools you're interested in going to, reaching out to people from your undergrad that are now at dental school. People are like so excited to help. I think they should be, because they've all received help themselves.
Totally, yeah.
Right? And so don't be afraid, and the mentor themselves, they get something out of it too. It's not just you leeching on them. Like we love to talk to people that are interested in what we're interested in, right? And I've asked this question to a lot of faculty. I'm like, why are you teaching, right? It's because they want to pass on that knowledge. They want to share their experiences, and there's a satisfaction that we receive from that as well. And so, finding those people, you can do it, and just asking respectfully and showing interest in their craft and what they do, and I think you'll have great experiences.
Yeah, I think the beauty of both these things, shadowing, building mentors, having these kinds of relationships, is you start to build for yourself. You get a good network. You get, you see how close knit this field of dentistry really is. There's so many people who you can be connected with just by knowing one dentist. And I think that's huge for, first of all, getting into dental school, with where, if you're watching this now, where you're at, or even once you're in dental school, I think, networking is going to be huge. And some of those mentors that you eventually develop a relationship with can help you get jobs. They can help you get into programs in post-grad school and different things like that. And so that network is going to be huge for you in opening up opportunities later on.
I can't say that enough, right? It's like, that's the thing. It's for me, like, granted, we're all talking about our individual experiences, but we know a lot of dental students. We know a lot of dentists who've gone through the same different programs and things like that. And for me, what it boils down to for me was GPA, DAT, networking. And that's why we're doing these episodes, is because we're highlighting the biggest things that will help you, because really these admissions faculty, they just want to get people that they feel comfortable coming to their school. And if they already know you prior to seeing your application, i.e. you networking, then you're going to have a leg up. It's as simple as that. And that's the world that we live in. Yes, of course, being a great student, that opens doors. However, if you're a great student and you know people at the school you're applying to, then they have a better opportunity to bet on you. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, because they really are taking a bet on you. They want to see everyone that they accept succeed, not only in dental school, but in their career, right? Mm-hmm. They want to see us all succeeding and building the reputation of the school, building reputation of the alumni, right? Those things are important. And so, they're just trying to, it's like you said, they're taking a bet on you and making an easy bet and an easier decision for them in any way possible. Why wouldn't you?
Even if they don't have, if you don't have the same stats as someone else that they don't know. I almost kind of feel networking and having that. But as I'm saying networking, I'm kind of well, wait. We've heard that our whole lives. Yeah. Really, right? From social media to Facebook to all these things. So wait, how do you actually do that though? How do you actually network?
Right.
Because say for me, I'm fortunate enough to go into the dental field, having a father who's in the dental field. So he helped guide me. But Jared, I know that you obviously your parents aren't dentists. So what were some things that you did, Kyle? What are something that you did that helped you actually network?
So, there's a lot of different things, right? Something as simple, and I think that maybe you do the most right now, is you're on Instagram and you just slide into someone's DMs, right? Yes. And that seems oh, this guy, this dentist has a ton of followers. He doesn't have time for me. He's really busy. It's no, you're showing genuine interest in them, and I would hope that they would respond to you and help answer your questions, or at least guide you to someone that can, right? So I don't know if I would say there's like a right way and a wrong way to network, but actually like putting out the effort and not assuming that you're going to be overlooked, right, is really important. Like send that email, make that phone call, whatever it is that you need to do. And in some ways you can be a little bit persistent, right? Like if at first maybe the person doesn't take you seriously, that's okay. But be genuine, don't be annoying, but to be genuine and persistent, I think is valuable, and that is seen as a strength to people, right?
Totally. I would say to just ask. I mean, you're with these people shadowing, or you're with them, whatever situation may be, don't be afraid to ask. If you need help with something, or you feel like they have a leg up in something, ask them for their help. I mean, I can't tell you the number of times that, I either asked my dad, or that's an easy example, but one of the dentists I shadowed was a big aesthetics guy, and he actually came to UOP, and I asked him for some help, and everyone's willing, and if they're not, then they'll tell you, and that's the worst case scenario. They just tell you no, and that's really not a big deal.
It's no loss to you,
exactly.
Right?
And that effort is huge.
Yeah, and I really do think like one of the biggest reasons that I'm here at this school is just by having friends and trying to make connections. So like knowing students that were here and they were looking out for me and for my interests, and helped connect me and show that I was like really serious about going to dental school here. It's like that's what these schools want, is they want someone that they know is dead serious and is going to put in the work at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you're willing to get on a phone call and like talk to a stranger about like your application and things like that, shows a lot about your character and your desire to become a dental student. Right.
Right.
Looking at this episode and like kind of the outline that we brought up, it's like I almost feel like this is the trifecta of like, okay, first you shadow. Those shadows usually become mentors, and you're also networking all at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's really just put yourself out there, and kind of to go along with what Jared mentioned, it's like, it's been so surprising, which I don't know why, but it's been surprising to me how open these names that I've been like, we've reached out to. Right. And like, it's just really cool to see that like dentistry and like this field is so fun to be a part of, because it's like not only are we all trying to learn together, but we also get juiced on it, like each other's success. You know?
For sure.
And like, yes, everyone has dark times, everyone has struggles, but it's like we all kind of come together. And it's like funny that even as a dental student, you're talking to a guy who's practiced dentistry, or a girl for dentistry for like 30 years, and they're like willing to get on a phone call, and like you can just
they'll spend an hour with you
and just chat about whatever you want. And it's just like, that is networking, right? It's like you literally just coming to the grips of like, hey, I just need to send a text, or I need to send an email, or I just need to slide into the DM, It's like, and then the ball rolls and it becomes so natural after that.
I will say, like, we live in a time where we make less phone calls than the generation before us, right? And so like, I get that there may be some anxieties around these networking things, but just knowing that the person you're reaching out to is probably really friendly, has been in your shoes, can be really helpful to you. I would also say that, dentistry is a very social career path. And so developing those skills and the ability to hold a conversation with someone, ask them. The other thing I was going to say, prepare for these experiences. Like, if you're going to talk to somebody, write down questions, right? Like, spend 5 minutes before you make an hour phone call. 5 minutes is going to make that call completely different, right? Like, write down the actual questions that you have. Spend that time. Some of us are better at thinking on our toes than others, right? And like, that preparation is going to show through and be impressive to the person on the other side of the call. So.
No, I actually have like a story about that real quick. Is that I was on Instagram. There was a guy who has a ton of followers who does cosmetics, and I reached out to him, said, hey, can we get on a phone call? And he said, yeah, let's do it. And we scheduled a time that was like on a later date, and he had a podcast that he was doing, and he told this story of how he has come up with this new like system to sell these cases, or be able to do these big cosmetic cases. And he like related it to the story of Joey Chestnut, the hot dog eating contest guy, and how he was able to like beat the record for amount of hot dogs eaten in like 5 minutes or whatever it was,
Yeah.
like by like 40 hot dogs when he first came on. And
disgusting.
he was relating how he wants to be the Joey Chestnut of like letting people know like the extent of how much you can extend like the career or the drive by, like, to us. So like
Yeah.
guys seeing him do this, he wants you to be the Joey Chestnut so you can rock it, right?
Right.
So anyway, I listened to that podcast and I got on the phone with him and I was like, I just want to be the Joey Chestnut to you. And he was like, because you said that, I'll give you as much time as you want. Because
Wow.
because I don't know anything about you, and my time is precious, and like, but now knowing that you've invested your time into learning about like what I want to do and what my
awesome.
vision is, it makes me want to talk to you more. So to that point, that was just a story
Yeah.
to illustrate the importance of actually knowing the people that you talk to. It's not a numbers game. It's like quality over quantity.
For sure,
correct?
for sure.
So
Yeah. All right, guys. I think we beat this nail to head pretty hard. So networking, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.